Hey guys, Craig here again. A bit of a channel update for you on the T62 that we started the other day. It was supposed to be a build log, however it's gone together a lot quicker than I thought it was going to. So by the time I'd realised what I was doing, I'd pretty much finished the tank. So what we'll do is we'll go through the instructions, things that I found good, things that I found bad, and basically show you where I'm at with the tank. So as you can see, it's all fully done now. It's all in primer, the tracks are on. It's not all stuck together. The fenders and that, the side skirts down here, these are loose. They'll come off so I can still paint it and then super glue it in place. None of the lenses are in for the lights, etc. As you can see, the guards and that's still off, but we'll come on to that shortly. All the photo etch is on, or the little bit of photo etch that you get in the kit. Yeah, basically it's a representation of a T62, as you can see. Very basic chassis to put together. That went together pretty quickly. The turret is a complete nightmare. Way overcomplicated for what it actually is. And there's a few issues with the turret that we'll come on to shortly, and a few inaccuracies and stuff like that. So that's basically where we are with the T62. It's in primer, and it's ready to go. So a couple of things that I'll point out to you with this kit. Think about how you want to display it. With it being trumpeter, every hatch, like the cupola hatches, commander gunner hatches, they open. The loader hatch at the back, that opens. This little port thing opens, so you can have them obviously open or closed. Driver's hatch opens and closes. These little engine hatches here, these open if you want them open. The little stowage bins you can have open. Some of them you can, that one you can, that one you can't, that one you can't. Yeah, basically you can have the hatches open pretty much anywhere on the tank. Some of the things with that is the kit's totally hollow. You can have all the hatches open all you want, but there's no interior, there's nothing inside the tank to justify having the hatches open. So if you open up the rear decks, you're just going to be left with a gaping hole, so you'd have to invest in like an engine kit. If you want the turret hatches open, again there's no interior, so looking inside you're just going to see a black void, and all the glue marks from the inside of the turret, so you need to invest in an interior for the turret. There's quite a few things that should have been able to open and close that they haven't. The spotlights, for example, they give you the covers for a closed spotlight. It would have been nice to have it open, maybe with a glass on the inside, so you can display the searchlight open and working or whatever. No option for that. You get two different covers, which is closed and closed again on a different back. There's two different types of big spotlight. Same with the gunner's spotlight up here. There's two covers for it, closed and closed. Again, it would be nice to have a lens to go in there, so you could have had the spotlights open. With regards to lenses, there's a couple of really poor design faults, I'd say, from Trumpeter. The lenses on my kit anyhow for the driver's hatch don't fit, and even trimming it, the lenses are too small for the hole then. How they're at the minute, they're too big. It's just crap, so I'm going to have to put Formula 560 in that. The sight down here on the side of the turret, it's just an open hole, there's no lens to go in there. But if you look on the real thing, there's actually a glass lens to go on that periscope there for the gunner's sight. This sight here, no lens at all, and it's a whopping great big hole in the turret. There's absolutely no option, no lens, no nothing to fill that gaping hole with. So again, that's going to have to be down to Formula 560. With regards to the lights, if you follow the instructions, the headlight, which is, I think it's B12, there's only one on the sprue. Again, when you come through to do the spotlights, this light here is also the same number as this headlight, but you only get one of them. So you get 3 of these in total, and they've all got slightly different mounting points. So just make sure you find the right one for which bit, because this one here is a little bit of a nose, because it's got like a pin that sticks out that you glue to the side of that big spotlight. If you get it wrong, the headlight don't fit properly, and this spotlight at the back don't fit properly. That's the lenses out of the way. Other things with this that I'm not really impressed with. The tracks are a complete nightmare. I never did get to the bottom why they supply 2 sprockets. However, the ones in the instructions called for the spare set that come on its own sprue, not the A parts. However, when you're making these sprockets and you join the halves together, it's got locating pins so they seat correctly. Make sure that the actual inner and outer of the sprocket aligns up. As you can see, this side fits the track smoothly. On the inside though, it doesn't quite meet up with the track. If you can see where my thumb is here, it's just slightly off center, so the track doesn't actually fit the sprocket properly. Unless I pointed it out to you, you would never have noticed the actual sprocket being like that, because it does just kind of fit, but it's a nose trying to get the track on around the sprocket. This side, the locating lugs fit perfectly, and the track's alright on the other side. So just when you're lining these sprockets up, just make sure you've got the sprocket aligned and the track actually fits the whole thing. Another thing with the tracks, following the instructions, as you can see, a T62's got a lot of sag because there's no idler wheels. Getting the tracks to fit is a ball ache. Although it's separate links, where I'm at with this now, one more link is too big and one less link is too small. And the reason for that is they've got an idler on the front. The actual tensioner is cammed, so if you were to spin it, it would either tension or loosen the track off, as would be the real tank. So something like the Challenger 2 on Tamiya, the actual track tensioner, and on my Fury, on the Tamiya M4A3E8, the idler you can actually spin, and it tensions or loosens the track off. This kit is in desperate need of having a movable track tensioner, because the tracks just don't quite fit properly. It's kind of in between fitting and not fitting. So what I'm getting at is you'll get something along the lines of that, just about fitting. There's a part there that's not too bad on this one, but if you're looking kind of here, the track just doesn't quite fit properly because it's that couple of millimeters you needed just for the tracks to fit snugly. No issue. So that's a real balls. What you're going to have to do, like I've did, is try and hide it in an area where you're not going to see it, basically. So yeah, not impressed with the track tensioning on this. It's actually on a lug. It's on like a half moon shaped lug, and it only fits in one way, so it's a set point. So you can't cut it off and actually adjust it, because if you did, you'd pull the idler off when you put the track on. So with that, you just have to grin and bear it, and try and work around it. Or you might be lucky, and your kit, they might fit properly. However, On this one, it didn't. Other things with this that I weren't too keen on, these rear oil drums, the way they locate, this one kept snapping off for some reason, for no reason whatsoever. Glued it on, come back to it the next day and it fell off. Go figure. Very, very basic looking oil drum, fuel drums, but just be aware these are, the way they mount are a little bit of a ball ache, because it isn't actually on a pin that goes into a hole. It's just a flat bracket that glues to a flat bit of plastic. So just be aware of that. The turret, coming on to the turret, this is a complete nightmare. There is no holes at all on the turret for any of the bits that you put on it. In the instructions it pretty much says drill hole, drill hole, drill hole, drill hole. So you need to drill a hole here, here, here and here for these handrails to go on. There's a couple of holes on the inside of the turret that you need to drill for bits up here. For this piece that goes across here, you need to drill the holes for them. You need to drill the holes for this anti-tank missile thing. You need to drill the holes, oh sorry, you need to drill the holes for these brackets here, same as in the other side. When it comes to fitting these stowage hooks, there's actually very, very tiny, faint little indents in the plastic. If you haven't got good eyesight, you'll miss it. And if you don't move the turret into a light, you'll definitely not see it. Same with the holes for these handles. There's little tiny circles just ever so slightly indented into the turret to give you some idea where they go. But make sure you get the right size hole. If you drill it too big, you're knackered, because these handles are just going to go straight through your turret. Okay. These little stowage hooks are a complete pain. I was under the impression that they had to sit outwards to give you the gap to put something through the hook. However, when you take them off, they're actually angled. They're actually sort of like a kinked sort of like version across. So you glue them flat to the turret, and because of the little kink in it, it does give you a little bit of a gap. Not the best, and again, trying to find the location points for them, complete nightmare. If you get it wrong, I don't think it's really going to matter. However, there are very, very faint lines where these things locate. Other things with the turret, they've made things so overcomplicated. This spotlight is a pain in the ass to put together. There's photo etch at the back. There is a little plastic piece supplied, but it doesn't call for it in the instructions. But this spotlight here, complete ball ache to put together. And not so much putting it together, it's getting it to mount where it is on the actual cupola hatch there. The what do you call it? The hinge for the rear part of this turret that folds upwards. Let's try and get it in. Right, where's me knife gone? Let's just grab a knife. What we're talking about is this bracket here. These are like an L-shaped piece that attach to this, that are already moulded to the actual thing, and then you've got this bit of plastic in the middle, and it locks into place so you can open it and close it. However, you need to trim a little bit off of these L pieces because it doesn't fit. If you try and wedge it in, what you end up doing is bending them and snapping them off, because this bit of plastic is either too long or these bits of plastic here are too thick. Either way, you're going to have to trim something to get this cupola on properly. There's a hole up here. There's nothing in the instructions to say what goes in it. It's just a random hole in the top of that. So I don't know if it's supposed to be another antenna mount, or if it's supposed to be something that you'd stick a flag in or something. I don't know. It's just a gaping hole on the top of the turret. The other bits that are a pain in the ass with this particular kit, this spotlight here is mounted in several pieces, but these two little brackets underneath, this one here and this one here, you glue to the bottom bracket here that the spotlight's actually sat on. Then you glue the spotlight on, then you put the little side light on, and then you glue it to the turret. Now these two brackets, what I would suggest is you glue the brackets to the turret first, so you get them aligned properly. And once you've got the two little brackets on under here aligned properly, glue the base plate on, then glue this on, then glue that on. If you follow the instructions like I did, the brackets at the bottom don't actually fit the turret properly, and you're going to run into issues. The thermal imaging sight thing up here, that weren't too bad to go together. However, it's about 20 pieces for not a lot of detail. And the silly thing is, there's a little tiny bit of photo etch here. It's literally pinprick big. That does no justice to the kit whatsoever. None. But that's one of the pieces of photo etch you stick on. Yeah, so that's pretty much the issues that I've come across with this particular model. It says on the box there's two variants. The one out of the instructions, I presume, is the 1975 version, which is this. I'm sure the 1962 version doesn't have the this sight on the top and other bits and bobs, but you get variations in the spotlights, obviously for the different eras. And I don't know, because I'm not a Russian expert on that. However, the disappointing part with the model is you get a lot of photo etch still left over. You get all of this, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one, where it doesn't actually tell you in the instructions where it goes. This bit here, I found was to be the exhaust plate that goes around the side, but the instructions call for the plastic piece which I put on. And then once I'd stuck it on, realised that I had this piece. The rest of that and this little clip thing here, there's nothing in the instructions telling you where that goes. On this one, you get this two brackets down here, these plates, this mesh, and this little circle thing here. Again, it doesn't tell you anywhere in the instructions where any of that goes. However, for the mesh, there's only two places for the mesh can go. And that's there, which photo etch is already on, and here, which the photo etch is already on. There's nowhere else to put another grill. Why, trumpeter? Why? What you do get at the end of the kit, if you're going to build it the way I have, you get a lot of spares in the box. One of the things in the instructions, I'll actually show you it, and it's probably easier. The rear part of the missile launcher, this tube thing up here, if you look at the instructions, it says C2, C4. That's completely wrong. C4 is actually the smaller, there's some small bits in here. Let's just tip them all out, shall we? That is C4, and what that actually is, that part, it's part of the attachment to make the plastic barrel. Okay, so common sense prevails. It's a lot shorter than the bit that's on the actual tank, so it doesn't fit. So use your common noddle there. That plate is a different glacis plate. You can either have a plain armour one, or in my case I chose the one with all the extra detail added on it, for that reason, for the extra detail, which is this plate down here. Basically you get a lot of track left over, and they also supply spare track links with two mounting points. I don't know if you can see that clearly. So that clearly mounts somewhere on the vehicle that's supposed to have location points, so you can put spare track on. It doesn't show in the instructions where. These little ammo box things, let's try and get that out of the way. These little ammo box things here, Again, come with little mounting points on the back, but there's nowhere in the instructions to tell you where to mount that. You get 4 of them. Left with spare sprockets. You get the choice of mantlets even. That's just the cast metal one, or what's supposed to be the cast metal one. On my one, I've put the, I don't know if you can see it properly on there, but it's got the canvas mantlet on there. With regards to this metal barrel, yeah, it's a lovely precision piece of engineering. It fits absolutely fantastic. Problem with it is, A, it's too heavy. So it's very front heavy on the turret. Also with it, and it's not only with this, but with a plastic barrel as well, there is no movement up and down with the actual barrel itself. One place fits all. That's how it is. You can't adjust it at all. And partly because of the reason to that is there's a plate up here which covers the hole between the turret and the mantlet. It's like an armour plate. You glue that down and there's no room for the actual mantlet to move or manoeuvre underneath it. So the only thing I could suggest is place the barrel where you want it and then glue that plate down, rather than following the instructions, putting the plate down first and then putting the mantlet in. That's what I would do if you wanted to adjust it. But if you follow the instructions, it's going to sit how mine is. It's not going to adjust at all. You get lots of little spares. You get a couple extra torsion arms. You get a lot of final drive plates. There's 4 spare of those. There is actually a spare little headlight spotlight thing. A couple of handles. There's a spare antenna mount. That's the other big spotlight. But in the instructions it doesn't give you options where to place this different stuff. So it's using your imagination. I'd love to know where these little ammo boxes and that go, because that's a waste of detail, and same with the track. But they didn't actually need to put that in, because you get about 40 links of this spare anyway. So that's pretty much the spare parts that you're going to be left over with, dependent on the variant you're using. The only things I've got left to put together on this particular beast is the tow cables. Now the supplied tow cable that you get is like a brass wire. I don't like it, so I'm not going to use it. But what I will do is get the other tow cable wire that I use, which is picture frame. I'm going to use that instead. So I've only got that to put on, which covers 2 of the holes that are on the side plate. They mount here and here. This rear one is for the cable to go from there to the back of the tank. This one goes from here to the front of the tank. And that's pretty much us. The only other thing that annoyed me a little bit, and I now understand, is this light guard that sits obviously across the lights, that when it's on looks absolutely ridiculous. It looks massively too big for the actual kit, and it looks completely out of place. It looks completely stupid, and it doesn't look right on the actual vehicle. The few people that I've seen build these make their own version of this out of like copper wire and then solder it together. But this looks absolutely crap over the top of the lights. So I might not even put that on. I might just leave it off. So that's where I'm at with this, guys. All I'm going to do now is paint it, weather it, and then stash it. There's not much else I can do with it. I've got the figures to do yet. I'm probably not going to use it on a dyno. It's just going to stand static, just purely because I can't be bothered with it. You know, it's going to sit on the shelf for the rest of the statics that I've got, and that'll be it for the T62. So if you guys got any questions, any comments, whatever you want to do, leave it down below in the comment section as normal. The next update I'll do on this is it'll be painted, weathered, and it'll be finished. I can't be doing, I ain't got the time to do sort of like a step-by-step guide with that for this particular build. So that's us basically. So thanks for your time, guys. I'll speak to you later and I'll give you an update shortly.